there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome back to yet another locomotive review. Today I've got one of my good friends to show you, and as I'm sure you'll have been able to tell by now, it is James. James the Red Engine, as you can see here, from Thomas and Friends. And I've been really looking forward to doing this one, but not as much as James has been looking forward to this, because as you know, he does like to show off. Anyway, on the end of the box you can see that this, as I said, is James the Red Engine R9290, and he is DCC ready. I'll just show you the back of the box very quickly then, because I know you're all excited to see him come out of his box. So there you have it. You can see all the different locomotives from the range there, as well as all the coaches and wagons, and there are a lot of them, aren't there? So I might have to try and get some of those. Anyway, let's get James out then, because I know he's desperate to come out. And he has been out of the box before, of course, because he has been in one or two videos already. But, you know, he's happier when he's not in his box. So I'll get him out as soon as I can. Okay, first then I will show you the instructions. And I know they're not very interesting, so I'll try and be quick. So these are the instructions for Edward, Gordon and James. And inside, it's not particularly interesting. You've just got the how to service him, so how to oil him, and also how to fit a DCC decoder if you wanted to do that. But we're not doing any of that today, we're just going to get him out and get him running. So let's have a look. I'll take this sleeve off. Hello James, how are you doing? Don't worry, I'm just showing you to these people, so try and look your best. They want to see what you're like. Alright, take this bit of plastic off. And here he is then, if I just grab hold of him. Here is James, the lovely Red Engine, number 5 of course, and I'm going to be looking at him in a lot more detail in just a second, but first of all I thought it would be nice to let you hear a little bit about James's history and what he's up to these days. So here we go. James was built in 1912 as part of the L&YR Class 28. He was built by George Hughes, who sold him to Sir Topham Hatt in 1924 for mixed traffic duties on the island of Sodor. He was actually painted black to start with, but eventually he was repainted into the red after he derailed and had to be repaired. Just like Gordon, James is a celebrated actor and has appeared in Thomas and Friends for many, many years. Although he acts quite vain and boastful in the show, he's actually quite a pleasant guy in real life, with an interest in signalling and point work. He recently celebrated his 100th birthday in 2012, and he still plays the voice of James in Thomas and Friends, even though the show is now done in CGI. So there he is then, James the Red Engine, looking absolutely lovely against the white background there, and I really do love his shade of red, and I'm not just saying that because James likes to hear it either. I genuinely wish that more of my locos had that beautiful red colour. Now the detail isn't absolutely fantastic on James, and that isn't a bad thing either, because I think a super detailed James would be a little bit creepy, but it also means that children can afford to buy him because he's not going to be too expensive. Having said that, there is a fair amount of detail on James, so we're going to have a look at some of that. First of all though, let's have a look at his face, and he's got quite the odd look on his face, hasn't he? He certainly looks a little bit boastful and a little bit pleased with himself, but that's alright, he is a lovely engine after all. And as I've already said, the red is a very lovely colour, but he's also got this gold lining on him, which is also quite flamboyant, isn't it? So you've got the gold lining on the boiler, and of course his dome is done into that golden or copper colour too, which is very nice. He also has separately fitted safety valves, although I would say that's probably the only separately fitted detail he has, except for the lamp irons, which, yes, again, they are in upside down, which is a little bit strange, but I suppose we're quite used to it. And while we're looking at that area, you can see that there is a separately fitted vacuum pipe on there, although his buffers sadly aren't sprung, but that isn't too much of a big deal. Inside his cab there is a little bit of moulded detail in there, but of course it isn't painted, and he doesn't have glazed windows either. So generally the locomotive is quite simple. He doesn't have a great amount of detail, but as I was saying, it really isn't too much of a bad thing. The tender is quite nicely done as well. As you can see, he has his number 5 quite nicely applied on the side there, and he also has a black lining around his tender, as you can see, which is present on the locomotive as well on the side of the cab. He has a fair bit of underframe detail, which is painted into the black instead of the red, which I think looks quite nice. And the coal load in his tender also looks quite nice and fine scale. It is quite tall, the coal load, but that is because this model is tender driven, and so the motor has to fit inside the tender. So if you put nice tall coal in there, there's more space for the motor. Around the back then you have quite a bit of moulded detail there, including what look like lamp irons, I would say. And again you have the separately fitted vacuum pipe, and also a NEM coupling on the back there. So yeah, as you can see, quite a simple model, but it's well worth the money, I would say, so far. Okay, let's take him onto the layout then and do the part that we all love, which is seeing how well he runs. And I know some of you already know this, but we'll try it again anyway. Here we go. So there's James then, looking fantastic down onto the line, and he is about to couple up to quite a big goods train with lots of different kinds of wagons and boxcars and all sorts, even some tankers. So hopefully that will look nice. And then on the middle line we have Gordon the big blue engine, and he is pulling a big rake, well, 5 coaches, 5 ex-LNER teak coaches. And then finally on the inside line we have little Percy with a mail train. So yeah, there is his mail train. It's got the Sodor mail coach and then the Hornby night mail coaches. And also elsewhere on the layout there are lots more Thomas characters hidden, so see if you can spot all of those, except one of them has nothing to do with any Thomas character. So see if you can figure out which one that is. But for now then, let's get James tested and see how well he runs. So I'm just going to give him a tiny bit of power and see if we can get him to run really slowly, because that's always the most impressive. And there he is actually moving. Now, I have to say this is tender driven, which is a little bit old fashioned for me. I'd much prefer them being loco driven, but there is a 5-pole motor in there, and as you can see by this, it does run beautifully smoothly. Just speed him up a tiny bit. So as you can see, really no complaints on the performance in particular, except for the fact that it's tender driven. I must admit he does run very, very well. As you can see, he's totally silent, and he's also very smooth. So let's try it a bit quicker. Yeah, still very quiet. Okay, I'm going to send him to pick up his goods train then. There we go. Nice gentle coupling. Not. Never mind, James. You were never the most smooth coupler anyway, were you? Anyway, let's get you going then, James. See if you can manage all of these wagons and things. Nice and gentle start. And yes, of course he can. Don't show off though, James. Okay, let's get Gordon started then. Alright. There he goes with a very nice and gentle start as well. And last but not least then, let's not forget Percy. Here he goes with his mail train. 3 coaches as well. Well done, Percy. Anyway folks, enjoy this running session. Here comes James now. Yeah, he's a very good puller, isn't he? And I'm sure he could manage quite a few more wagons than that either. But I've tried to pick all the most colourful ones for you. And he's done a very, very good job pulling them. Now this bit of track is very slightly uphill, so it will be interesting to see whether he slows down. He did a very little bit, but not by much. So yeah, that is a very good performance from James. And now for my ratings then for the Hornby James. First of all, detail 6 out of 10. Yeah, it's not a fantastic detail score, but as I was saying earlier, I don't think James needs a lot of detail. Performance 8 out of 10. He does run fantastically, though of course I do wish he was loco driven. Character 10 out of 10. Obviously he's bursting with character, so you really can't fault him there. And build quality 9 out of 10. Apart from the lamp irons being in the wrong way, I can't really see any other problems with this model whatsoever. Value, I paid £55 for my James, which I think is pretty good value for money, so I get that 8 out of 10, which gives us overall 8.09 out of 10, ranking James 12th, just above Percy and below the Hornby Ginty. Well, they all seem to be running very, very happily, don't they? Especially James, he's always got that big smile on his face. And Gordon is still going strong as well. Yep, brilliant. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this as much as I have anyway. It's just lovely to see some Thomas characters running, isn't it? Always is. And there goes Percy away from us now. Anyway folks, thank you very much for watching. That will just about do it for today. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please feel free to leave the video a like or even a comment, because I do love it when you get in touch. And also, if you'd like to, you can check out the Facebook or Twitter pages, and they're at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains. It would be lovely to see you on there, but for now folks, once again, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget about the Wall of Fame. You can send in your drawings or photos or whatever you like. Just take a photo of them and email them to samstrains@outlook.com, and I will print them out and put them up on the wall for you. But for now, I think that is all I've got to say, so once again, I think this is about the 10th time I've said it, thank you for watching, seriously though, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers everybody.